Is Monday, November 3rd. Wow, we're getting along with a month here. We've got a lot to talk about today because we're sort of transitioning today, this Monday, into more, after a really nice weekend, by the way. Very warm, pleasant, fall-like weather. We're trending into a wetter pattern that's going to last for kind of throughout the week and maybe a little into next weekend, especially in the Pacific Northwest. So it's a trend. You'll notice it. It's going to feel more like winter. Air quality alerts in Southern California. We'll talk about that. Just some bad air in general. Wind advisories and warnings and watches will be in effect the next 36 to 48 to 72 hours. We're going to get this incoming weather system, a windy one, especially in Northern California. Rain, big surf along the coast, sneaker waves, and tides, king tides coming up as well. So here's a shot of the Pacific, and I bet you can pick us out right here. I'll try to remember to put a loop around it. I do it in post, so sometimes I forget. But you can see the jet stream in pretty clearly. Let's see if I can draw it in. You don't need me for this. There it is. And then a little bit of a ridge, which is getting knocked down by these two strong weather systems. So this is where the surf is coming from, right? From out, it'll run behind the storms. Clearly, the waves are slower, but the storms are producing it. So when you see that, I go, a couple of days, it's going to get big, and in fact, it is going to get big. We're going to probably see mavericks breaking, and some other waves that only break when it's big. Here's Mount Shasta this morning. Right now, if you will, let's do a little loop on that. This is just kind of, to me, it goes, wow, it's one of those days. There's wind shear, there's moisture in the atmosphere. It's weather changing. And Mount Shasta is sort of a bellwether for mountains. You can see when the weather's changing. Look at that cap cloud. Isn't that beautiful? You can see the southerly flow as well as it's coming up this slope. So the rainfall accumulations, this is for Northern California, but 4 to 6 inches in Eureka over the next, I think this is 6 days. Yeah, next 6 days. And as far south as my friends in Santa Maria, maybe a few sprinkles. Los Angeles, nothing. So you guys are still dry. And this illustrates clearly why fire danger, like our fire danger in the north is, it never ends, but it's for all intents and purposes is going to after this. But as you get into these lesser rain zones, like Bakersfield and Los Angeles, you're dry, and so the Santa Ana winds or any kind of fire start's going to be a problem. So 2 to 3 inches up around Redding as well. So that's the long-range 6-day forecast for rainfall. You can see fog along the coast. This is, let me put a stop on this. There we go. And you can see this is a visible satellite, which is awesome for showing fog. Clear up here because the inversion has trouble forming because it's close to that low. As you get further away from the weather, the low, you get the inversion. So you have fog along the coast in San Francisco. Santa Clara Valley has fog. Fog in Monterey, all the way down Point Conception, all the way into Southern California. So yeah, a lot of fog. And you have air quality. You got a real stagnant environment down in LA. Air quality alerts. They've banned wood burning or anything like of that nature throughout the next 24 hours. And that's because this inversion is so strong. That fog represents the inversion. So you get the fog, which doesn't help the pollution at all, which is sort of a indication of a shallow inversion. So we'll look at a little closer at Southern California's air quality woes this morning. Here is the footprint for the next 3 days. And I just want you to see the focus. So my friends up in Seattle, you guys it's game on. It hasn't stopped really. It's been kind of wet up there through, the Thanksgiving or the Halloween period. Hope you had a nice Halloween, by the way. God, we haven't talked since then, really. And then the heavier rains in Northern California does real well. And then you see that wet, dry line right around Lompoc right there. So is that perfectly accurate? Not always, but it's nice to get a good idea of the precipitation footprint, and you can kind of go, okay, this is the kind of storm we got. Every once in a while, I'll try to find a storm. You get in this time, you'll see something coming from the lower latitudes where Oregon and Washington are left out, and you get this footprint that's the opposite of what I just showed you. This is fog out in the Truckee Valley this morning. Truckee this morning in the 20s. Truckee this afternoon in the low 60s. Beautiful day, beautiful air quality, but it's changed. And here's the fog. This is Mount Diablo right here. And what can you see? This is from Mount Tamalpais. So this is a tough little angle. So we're looking due north. So we're looking up into San Rafael. This is the coastal fog here, all the way up into the bay. That's San Francisco Bay. San Francisco's down here. So you see some morning fog showing up. That'll go away, burn off pretty quickly, except right at the coast. So you got sneaker wave threats in Washington and Oregon. That's their warning. And then you have a coastal flood advisory. That's for the king tides, which show up kind of, their tides are high right now and pretty low. Big swings, big 7 foot, 6.5 foot tides at our latitude. And they're dropping down to, a foot or half a foot. So it's a lot of water moving. And it lasts. And I think the strongest day is going to be Thursday. And along the coast, and you have these sneaker waves, if you will, or this big surf, which exacerbated by high tides, right? So the tide's higher than normal. You're standing on the beach. You're crab fishing, I actually do that sometimes. I put a little mesh box with some weight on it and put a bunch of squid in there and throw it out there. And the crab will grab onto the box and get caught up in it, and you grab them and pull them in. That's sort of a thing right now, at least off Ocean Beach. But it's a dangerous thing right now, because the higher tides is when you kind of do your crabbing, and you're going to wait for the big fat high king tide, and then the sets could come. So please be careful. Here is the wind advisory along the coast. This is Northern California and into Bandon Dunes and up into Coos Bay. Okay, so I'm just going through the Weather Service stuff. This is unfortunately, the Weather Service is what our taxpayer dollars pay for, and so they put out products, and they're good. A lot of these products are good. They're getting better at it too. So this is the gusty wind forecast, gusts up to 50 miles an hour out of the south. This is through Tuesday night, tomorrow night, into Wednesday night. So that's that incoming weather system. This green area, this is from the National Weather Service out of Monterey, or out of Sacramento, pardon me. This green area represents the flood advisory, the coastal flood advisory, the king tide event, and then the wind advisory. Okay, so that's this. And then we go down to Southern California, where they're forecasting high temperatures on Monday to be, which is always fun. I don't know if you can read those. Upper 70s, reds are 80s. So mid 70s, low 80s. And then the biggest of concerns would be this air quality alert, Los Angeles, Santa Monica, and so on. And so we can see how that looks on a map. This is purple air and the air quality. And I haven't seen a lot of bad air quality days in Southern California this summer, which is nice. Because remember, a lot of us are older on this YouTube page, but we all remember, if you're over 60, is that yeah, for sure. If you're over 60, you can remember going down to Disneyland and it just being pea soup fog, and it was every day, all day in the summer. That was before they took the lead out of gasoline and changed car emissions regulations in California. That's why gas costs so much, right? But anyway, this is one of those days, not a rare day, but it's bad air quality, and you can see that inversion clearly, and it's really socked into the Los Angeles basin. Will it get better today? I don't think it's going to get much better today. It'll get a little better as the sun comes out and the air lifts and stuff, but I don't think it's much better. So Southern California, you got the air quality stuff. These are the forecast highs for today. Take a breath. Redding today 72, Sacramento today 73, Fresno today 79, Bakersfield 80, Los Angeles 74, and I just got the awesomest. I did these are the highs for today, and then I'll do tomorrow. These are tomorrow's. So just a little cooler in the north, a little warmer in the south. But I got a cool comment from somebody on that. I did that surf thing, which was like literally just something I always want to say. Basically talking about the culture of Northern California. So a lot of people watched it. And so I'm getting all these notes, these comments from the tribes and some of these older guys. And I got a note today from a guy who just was like, yeah, we used to, because he was saying the problem with surfing now is there's so much money. Kids just go buy a board, they get in their fancy car, they go, it was true. He goes, yeah, it was so well put that he was just saying, the problem is it's super easy There's just money, and people can buy it, and they can get a nice car, and then go buy a surfboard, and buy a wetsuit, and buy gas, and buy lunch, and we couldn't do that. And so he's told me a bunch of stories about not getting caught on the other side of the bridge, which I've done, Golden Gate Bridge, not being able to get home because you don't have the 75 cents for the toll. He was a 50s, 60s guy, but it really just struck me. I thought it's such a different time. If you get a chance, you know what I should do is I'll pin that. I'll do this. So on that surf video, it's called... you'll see it. It's in my page. It's I don't even know what I title it. You'll see a bunch of guys hanging out on a wall. It's Northern California. Oh, surfing Northern California for 45 years or something like that. It's the title. But I'll try to pin it because it's really like, it was so well written, and the guy's got to be, he's got to be 70 because of what he was talking about. But I remember I was reading this, I was taken aback because I forgot how different it was for us than it is for the kids now. It doesn't mean the kids are bad. It just means it's different. And he was so succinct. It was awesome. Must have been an old English teacher or something. Okay. So here is the GFS. This is our incoming system, right? And this is the jet stream. You can see the jet stream. I'm not going to even draw it in. You can see it really clearly. A little further south, but not very far south. And then it clicks in here, and you see these are vorticity dynamics. This is Monday afternoon, and then this is Tuesday morning. You can see the dynamics, see the vorticity. You see it, it's the right front quadrant right in here. We're not going to be there long, but this is the weather system. These are the 4 quadrants. This area here is the most dynamic, the lower right, and then this upper right. Everything on the right side of the low is gaming. Everything over here is gaming, but this quadrant is the one, and this is look where the quadrant is. It's showing up. You got to eyeball it, but you can kind of see the defluence and everything happening right into Northern California. Hence the wind, hence the increased rainfall potential. So there we go. So this is right there. Kicks into the coast on Tuesday afternoon and Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. Tuesday night into Wednesday morning kind of seems like the deal. Then it breaks. And then you get a little ridging, and then a weak system tweaks through. But this is the kind of the main event for this week, although there is more. And look at the Pacific Northwest. The Pacific Northwest is all in the right quadrant, upper and lower. Pacific Northwest, you guys, Oregon, Washington. So let's get a little more granular. Here's the wind forecast this is California. I'll circle it. The yellows represent gusts that gold color represents gusts up to 35, 40. The red is 50, 60. So this is Monday afternoon. This afternoon, the winds kind of kick in, right? Not so far as south, but certainly up in Oregon. And then right here, that's the main event. That's Tuesday afternoon, Tuesday evening into Wednesday morning. And that's big wind. That's 60, 70 mile an hour winds. Yeah, it kind of falls mostly out over the water, but this is Tuesday into the evening and into Wednesday morning. So Halloween decorations, man, I'd get them down. And there's even wind in Southern California. I'll take care of your air quality, you guys. So that's just a broad wind forecast. Here is, I didn't know I put this here. This is the accumulation, rainfall accumulation. So this is through Tuesday afternoon. See the line? So tomorrow afternoon. This is through the overnight hours into Wednesday morning. Look at Cape Mendocino. Over 3 inches of rain. Look at that bullseye, man. So this is so Tuesday night into Wednesday is a thing. Keeps coming. This is now Thursday morning. Not so much. And then there's a secondary system comes in. See it kind of come in there Saturday. And then somewhere next week, November 13th. Yeah, that's way down the road. I'm just getting beyond myself. But this is this next system right here. Something like that. That's through Wednesday afternoon. And that's pretty good. That's pretty good. In Southern California, you're staying out of the mix. That's just a broad brush. This is the different model. I thought we'd take a different look. This is Pacific Northwest or Washington, Northern Washington, and Northern Oregon and Washington coast. This is the North American model, a little more granular. And you see the rain coming in. That is for tonight. and tomorrow morning. Not too bad. And then that looks pretty aggressive. That's on Tuesday afternoon and then into Wednesday morning. Wow. Okay. So you guys stay kind of what your main event in the Pacific Northwest is going to be, looks like it's going to be Tuesday afternoon. But this Tuesday night into Wednesday is kind of the main deal. And so now this is further south. This is Oregon all the way into Southern California, North America model. This is tomorrow morning, Tuesday morning. And this is the main event, Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. That looks pretty awesome. And if you go, well, where's the wind? See the lines, the black lines? They're pretty close together. So that would represent, right? Look at that, really tightly packed. You can even see thickness lines here that are getting pushed down a little, but this is all about strong pressure gradient, and that's going to produce a lot of wind at the same time. So this is Tuesday night and Wednesday morning. It's got the air mark. So we'll keep an eye on it. Is it going to be nasty flooding rain? Maybe Seattle has a few flood watches out. Should be beneficial rain. Should be. Cape Mendocino, you can handle 2.5, 3 inches of rain. Here's the big picture. This is the system loaded up, and I can actually see 3 lows, right? I can see one here, one here, one here. So those are 3 weather systems. And what else we got? That's it. Let's put the jet stream in. There's the ridge that's breaking down. There's a little trough there, and and there's a little secondary jet stream there. Okay, so we're getting through it today. How much time I got left? I don't know, my clock's out. This is the national map, and it shows most everything. This is the watches and warnings, and it shows you what's happening out on the West Coast is more watches. There are more watches and warnings. And then, what is this thing? That looks like some kind of a wind deal. What's that? Special weather statement. What you guys doing? Oh, red flag warning that's interesting. So red flag warning in these areas. So they got some fire concerns. There's probably wind. And then this is the 6 to 10 day outlook. Above average temperatures. Okay, I like them. I never know what to do with these, but I like them. Mainly because I don't have to build them. And they show up and they're crisp and clear, and you can find California. I know that's one of the beefs, is that it's like, dude, I can't see the stakes. That's why I put a red circle around it, because it's really hard to see. Because these are raw models. When you're looking at the stuff that the guys over at NASA Ames are looking at. I mean, this is it's not brain surgery, and they have other models and other things. This is the basic stuff everybody looks at. All meteorologists, like aviation meteorologists, this is it you're looking at. There's a lot more, by the way, soundings and acoustic profilers and other equipment, but this is sort of the basics, the meat and potatoes of what we use. This is an earthquake, 6.1. It was on the 3rd at 8:44. Wow, so this morning, 6.1 on the Pacific Ring of Fire. That's a big earthquake. And you can see these are all earthquakes. See them all, right? And then this is the last day, 2.5 or above. This is in the last hour, that red one. The red ones usually are within the last hour. And then California's had a couple small ones. So been a little bit quiet. Let's do all earthquakes. Yeah, and then you get the feel, you go, oh yeah, there are a lot of earthquakes. There's a lot, the Earth's moving. I love seeing that. Because it reminds me, I forget too. Like every once in a while, we had an earthquake yesterday, I think we had one here out in the East Bay. And I was like, wow. Surprised. I'm like, well, what are you surprised for, man? These things are all day, every day. This is the surf that is going to build. Mavericks will be breaking here, so we get into Thursday. This period here. So I'm looking here. You may be looking somewhere else, but you can see it's big. It's going to get big. So and that's all in orchestra with the storm systems, right? So the swells lag behind a little. This Ocean Beach today, it's pretty big. They're calling it 8 to 10, but it's unruly. You got, Golden Gate Bridge. Golden Gate Bridge is a giant river mouth, right? That's the North Tower to the South Tower. It's the whole Sacramento Valley, not really, but most of the Sacramento Valley drains out through the delta and then goes out through a gap about this big, and it gets flushed down the coast, and it's aggressive, right? I mean, that's why Fort Point, I can say Fort Point. It used to be a secret spot, but Fort Point is right under the bridge, where the Presidio is. And dude, I can't tell you how many guys we pulled in from getting sucked out the gate, getting sucked because you can't really, you can try, but if there's a big alkaline tide like today, you're not gonna. It doesn't matter who you are. You're gonna get sucked out the gate. The currents are so aggressive, and the first place those currents go is right down the coast. And then you add the tide to that, so you got not just the water coming out the gate, the low outgoing tide, but now you have a king tide essentially coming up, so the water is even more aggressive, and it creates just rip currents. It'll just tear you apart. That's why Ocean Beach. That's why Fort Point. Not for the faint of heart. I can't tell you how many guys that have been pulled from those waters by surfers. Okay, so this is trussels. This is lower trussels. It's not going to be. They don't do that well with these swells because they're just south of Point Conception. They're going to be 3 to 4, which is this, pretty much all week. Maybe it'll come up. It'll pulse up a little on Thursday. I show you trussels because it's where they're going to have the Olympics, right, for surfing, which. Yeah, I was gonna say I don't like the. I don't like. I don't like the Olympics for surfing, but everyone else seems to. Just because surfing seems to me like it's like I was gonna say like rock climbing or something. This is Mount Shasta. What I mean by that is like I was gonna because I'm so wrong on this again, but they do. I think rock climbing's in the Olympics. I think rock climbing is a beautiful kind of art thing, and I can't believe you could compete at it. But I guess you can compete at anything, right? So surfing, yeah. And I get it. I come from that era that old school era where it was like no contest, no cell phones, no pictures, right? But the world's changed, man. The world's frothy for surfing and rock climbing and biking and all these kind of cool things. And probably in the old days, no, the world wasn't frothy for this kind of content, and so we had it to ourselves, all of us. And now it's like I'm getting ready to go out today. I'm gonna go down and surf, and I know it's packed because there's good swell, and it's gonna be frothy. And then in the day I would normally go. Okay, I'm good for. You don't count waves because it's weak to count your waves, but I kind of keep an idea. I get 15, 20 waves. That was always that's a 2-hour session, right? Always in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Now I go down. I mean, I hate this. I don't want to predict, but I'll be lucky to get 2 hours, 7 waves, and I'll be hustling kids for those 7 waves. Hustling, good waves, though, long waves, but still, I digress. Bob Whitney. Oh, this is Yosemite Falls. We talked about that. I was kind of bummed. This was named for a guy. Yosemite Falls is named for Yosemite. It's the falls. It's the tallest falls in North America. But it was named by a guy who was kind of a militia leader, and the militias back then were all about moving the Native Americans out of in this case, the Yosemite Valley, putting them on reservations and doing worse. So it kind of bums me out. I almost wished I hadn't read that because now it makes me look at the Yosemite Falls like, it's beautiful. But okay, this is the Eagle's Nest at the Channel Islands. Why are you here, Bill? Because I think we're going to get an eagle. I see feathers. I haven't seen any eagles. Be interesting to watch what they eat, too. So anyway, we're waiting for eagles. I'm waiting for live eagles. You guys all gave me a bunch of really awesome webcams. You really did. I got a bunch. And there's one that's odd. I can't pronounce the name of the place in Bangkok, but it's like it's a street camera in Bangkok, which has nothing to do with California. But it's like the people, it's so crossing the street. So you can kind of picture it's like Frogger, right? It's hilarious. It's like the most kinetic camera ever. This is Venice Beach. Not great air quality today. You can see that inversion is pretty shallow. So we got wind we're talking about, right? We saw the wind. So this thing's really all about, especially for the lower latitudes south of Crescent City. down to LA, it's about wind. You're going to get wind in LA too, just heavier, more wind, not 30, 40, 50 like we're going to see up in Redding, but you're going to get some wind as well. The rain, 2 to 3, 4 inches up around Northern California, Washington and Oregon, a couple inches of rain. Big surf, that really shows up on Thursday. I think Mavericks will be breaking on. Conditions will be weird, but Mavericks will show. They'll probably, somebody will try to go out on Thursday. And then we've got those king tides. So I think we covered it all. Okay. Hope you have a good day today. Today is Monday. I'll see you back here tomorrow.